That's jazzy, right?
That's like an auction yeller.
Auctioneer. It's an auction yeller.
Hello and welcome to Way Too Broad, a place for friends to talk about things they're really, really ridiculously excited about. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
Hey, Hannah. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hello, both of you.
Can I tell you guys and our listeners a big secret about last week's episode?
Please
Fuck,
don't.
yeah.
Actually, I already told you guys.
Yeah, you already told us. I know this one.
I accidentally, silenced the first sentence that I said in our last episode. And by the time I noticed it, I was, done editing, so there was, no chance of undoing. If I had undone back to the point where I had done that, I would have undone all the work I had done. So...
You just said done 14 times.
Dun, 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 dun. So... Instead, I sat in here and re-recorded myself just saying those first, that first intro part by myself. And I tried to sound angry again, because apparently I sounded angry the first time.
You know, you did great. You've had many episodes of practice doing that intro, so it sounded
Sounding
great.
angry.
Yeah.
43 episodes. This is my 44th.
Holy wow.
That's the number
it's
of
all of
Obama.
Aw. It's here. We have an email.
Right at the top.
What's everybody drinking, first of all?
Let's not go crazy.
Let's not go crazy here.
I'm drinking a grapefruit seltzer and a Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
It's very delicious. We had fish for dinner, so you know what that means.
Wait, what?
Everybody knows what that means, yeah. Ben,
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Ben, are you drinking water?
You know it.
I'm drinking a very good cider.
Tell us about it.
It's unfiltered.
Great, good start.
It's a Down East cider called Aloha Friday.
Did you say the downiest?
It's the downiest cider I've ever had.
It's that unfiltered texture.
It's infused with tart, tropical juiciness and hazy memories of a semester in Hawaii many years ago. I was wondering what that was that I was remembering while I was drinking this. I hadn't read this yet.
I was wondering what memories were flooding back.
Oh, you're supposed to...
Drink it in Hawaii.
There's text that's upside down, and it says, "We know it's upside down. Why? Because the best way to drink our unfiltered cider is to shake it up first, and by turning the can over to read this, you're halfway there. Give it a shake, wait 10 seconds, and enjoy."
Hopefully you haven't turned it upside down after you've opened it, though.
No, that's why I was reading so slowly, because I was reading that all upside down. I do have a second one here, though, because I love these. They're very tart and delicious, and I just know that today is going to be a real banger of an episode, and I'm ready for that.
Ready to shake your next cider.
Yeah, I'll shake that one. It seems like it would make it explode. It feels like a prank, maybe.
I feel like this is a trap. Like, maybe that's the memory from Hawaii.
Yeah. It's a Jammin' Wednesday episode.
Typical Wednesday.
Oh, Wacky Wednesday?
Wakiki
Wednesday?
And we do have an email. And now that we've established what everyone's drinking, I'm ready to read it.
Quite a tardy email, and I really apologize. I didn't know about it until after, but I still feel somewhat personally
I apologize
responsible.
on Hannah's behalf.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for taking care of that for me, you guys. So, it's from Ben's and my mother, Aunt Brown. And she says, "Hey guys, I was so glad to hear you talk about the owl attack theory and staircase. Hey, a bird attack figures prominently in that John Lithgow sitcom Trial and Error, and it follows the actual trial details so closely. I've been struggling to figure this out. Thanks for the help. Love you, Aunt Brown. P.S. Congrats on new job, Erin.
Thank you, Aunt Brown.
It doesn't say the. I think she's saying, like, now your new job, Erin.
Well, that's my name now, I suppose. So thanks for the nickname.
Yep. So, no problem. No problem, Mom. Sorry that you sent that email like 2 or 3 episodes ago.
What did we help her with?
I guess
exactly.
There was a, do you remember the show
Trial and Error
that she's talking about? Trial and Error?
Negatory.
It's really funny.
It is quite funny. And I wonder if it was like loosely based on the staircase on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
100%. Really?
Well,
Thanks for clearing that up for you.
Maybe not this like it's based on the Michael Peterson case for sure. I don't know if it's based on like the staircase itself, if that makes any sense.
Wait, his staircase
Really?
or her staircase?
Huh?
Anyway, apparently that show, which was a sitcom, was based on the Michael Peterson case, and so it mentioned the owl theory in some regard, Erin, to answer your question, and Mom never understood what they were talking about until we talked about it.
That show sounds like a hoot.
God.
That's all I have to contribute tonight.
Oh, okay. All right,
that
you won't be
hoot
hearing
joke?
any more from Erin.
Yeah, I'm going to mute my mic for the rest of the...
From new job, Erin.
I'm going to take myself out of consideration of the rest of this podcast and mute myself.
I'll take my answer off the air. Thank you.
I'll take my obsession off air. Thank you.
Long-time host, first time.
I always have so much appreciation for those who take their answer off air, because that whole like dance really stresses me out. So I've got a lot of mad respect, because that person is saying, like, I want you to answer my question, but I don't necessarily have anything to say that you're not going to say.
Right.
I'm not going to be like listening and thinking of what I want to say next. I like trust that you are the expert on this matter, and I don't need to respond with like my dumb thought.
Right. It's like such a relief, because you're like, okay, this is not going to go on uncomfortably long. Mm-hmm. Because so many times that happens with call-in shows. Mm-hmm. I could never, ever, ever host a call-in show, ever.
Well, it's because you don't talk on the phone.
Show. Huh?
You don't talk on the phone, that's why.
I hate it.
What did you say, Ben?
I was just making fun of how Hannah said host.
What did I say?
You said host a call-in show.
She had to gather some phlegm to communicate her disgust at the idea.
Host a call-in show.
Host it. Can't even say that word. That's how disgusted I am.
Ian texted me just 3 words. New jaw Baron.
I am the Baron of New Jaws. If you get to New Jaw, you must go through me. What are barons in charge of?
Land.
Ben is exhausted at he keeps having to explain this to me.
He's so
Erin,
tired
how
of you
many
asking.
times have we gone over this?
Land!
Barons
Oh
are in
my
charge
God.
of land.
But how much land, Ben?
An acre or 2. At least.
Because I know a duke is in charge of a duchy.
The baron is
Barony.
in charge of a barony.
I'm serious. I think that's what it is.
No,
Really?
Yeah.
come
How
on.
big is a barony? How big is a barony? Riddle me this. How big is a barony?
What is a baron in charge of?
I dare you Googling that.
Yeah, hope I get
How
something. Hope I get a
Big
hit.
is a barony.
Is it like
Baron.
a barren wasteland?
Run in the rain, run in the rain.
That's spelled differently,
yeah.
Erin. Come on.
I know.
Literally, I spelled it wrong. Okay, I spelled it Barony. How big is a Barony? Boarony. And the first thing I got was a question from sciencefocus.com. Are we born with full-size eyeballs and brains?
You're right. You are actually right, Hannah. For once. Barony is the rank and estates of a baron.
How
Thank
big is
you.
a barony? Does it matter?
It's as big as the baron's land.
But what distinguishes that from a duchy?
Oh, I don't know.
Other than it costs $5 in Dominion.
Duchy.
I forget what I was going to
We're
say.
a land distinguishing podcast. I'm so glad you could join us.
Thanks for joining
Here's
us.
the answer. Are you ready?
No.
I have been ready.
Okay. Duchies are the lands owned by dukes, and dukes are members of the royal family. Counts and barons were lower down in status amongst the nobility, so their lands were usually, although not necessarily always, not as extensive as those of dukes, and they're not in the royal family.
That must be where county comes from, too.
Oh, shit. I think you're
So,
right, actually. Wait,
A
you're
less
totally right.
a less important arbitrary white dude, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. A less
Nobility.
lucky, arbitrary white dude, yeah.
Cool.
Cool. I'm glad we...
Speaking
got
of
to
lucky
that.
white dude, I'm up first this week.
Oh, yeah, no, but, like, I am going to start saying... When I'm, like, trying to talk about how big something is, I'm going to be like, it was as big as a barony. It sounds very, like, 20s.
Are we certain that that's the pronunciation?
Yeah. What do you think it is, Barony?
You fucking barony.
That
Fucking
pronunciation
Barony.
sounds like Barony.
Barony.
Oh,
That creeps me. That creeps me the fucking shit out. Ben, I am alone in a room upstairs. Oh my god, it sounds like my name. Make it stop. Oh my god. It sounds like a little girl kind of said my name in my ear. You fuck.
What, I wasn't doing anything.
I'm crying so much.
Barony.
Barony. Barony.com.
Barony.
Oh god, stop saying it. I can't.
Oh my god, that was
I can't
awful.
bear it any longer.
That is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
It's like, dear Barony up in here.
Yeah. I've lived a charmed life, but that was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Okay. Do we have other upfront stuff?
I felt like we did.
Oh, I had something to say and it's gone.
Erin, did you read any more, Ella?
Come on, it's something to say. Yeah, I have been reading Ella Enchanted.
End
I
of
am-
sentence.
I am now at 20 pages.
Okay. You're
No,
more?
I'm nearly done. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's
so
so
good.
good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Did she write any more books?
Ella?
You know, she did. Yeah, Ella.
Ella.
She did write more books. I've read like one or two, and they haven't had quite the same effect on me. But I haven't read all of them. So I should probably keep trying.
It definitely holds up from when I read it as a youth. So
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah, it's great.
Excuse me.
It's good and great. It's good.
Good.
Did you? Oh,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask Ben if you remember what he was gonna say, but if you have more to say on Ella Enchanted, let's linger there a little while longer.
It's okay.
I think, oh my god, Como. I think what I was gonna say was an update on my obsession from a few weeks ago, which is watching the Red Sox.
Oh yeah.
Just want to give another shout out to how good the fucking Red Sox are this year. They have like one of the best records they've had since 2004. And they've won like 8 in a row. They're winning now, on track to win 9 in a row. They're just really good, and it's great to be a Red Sox fan right now.
Shout fucking out.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
I should have known that, but I didn't.
Should have known that the Red Sox are doing well.
Yeah.
Well, now you do.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump in then.
Let's jump in.
Oh, Ben, hey, did you get any packages this week?
Yes, I did. Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah, were they gift
Christmas in
wrapped?
July.
They were. And they said, I think, Merry fucking Christmas on the tag.
Well,
That
whoever
sounds
were they
likely.
from?
They were from Hannah.
Yeah.
It was a mic stand, or not a stand, like a mic. Is it a
Arm?
mic stand? Arm? Holder?
I don't know.
And it's got like a little thing to attach your mic to at the end that's got like helps with vibrations.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
Good
pop
vibrations.
filter, so I can go pa 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 pa, and it probably still sounds bad because I was pawing really loud, but it sounds less
Yeah, it
bad.
doesn't sound great.
But it doesn't make a mighty wind on your microphone.
It doesn't make a mighty wind.
A mighty wind's gonna come in. By the way, I love that movie.
A mighty wind.
Yeah, I really do. I
Yeah.
really
I've
do.
never seen it or heard of it.
Oh,
It's a Christopher Guest movie. Do you know him?
Yes. Spinal
Tap and Best in Show. Oh, have you seen Spinal Tap and Best in Show?
I've seen Spinal Tap.
Okay, so what you should do is watch Best in Show and then watch A Mighty Wind because it has like all the same characters. And A Mighty Wind is about folk music, and the 3 Spinal Tap people are in it in a band together, but they play folk music.
Oh,
but it's
that's
like
awesome.
so many years later. I mean, they're old dudes at this point, but it's a sweet movie and it's really funny. Just absolutely love it.
yeah.
And
Sounds
plug.
good.
No, I don't think I have anything else. Let's have Ben go. Go ahead, Ben.
Ben, why don't you go?
Why aren't you going, Ben?
My obsession is that if Ben would go already, actually.
Mine's really quick, and also I'm cheating.
Okay.
Cool.
Because this is actually just something I wanted to mention as part of my obsession last week, and I'm just going to treat it as its own obsession.
Okay.
Great.
So, if you remember, please, my obsession last week was shonen anime. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I really wanted to mention that I forgot to was one of the things I love about shonen anime and anime in general, as opposed to like Western shows, is the like opening credits and opening songs are often really, really good. And also something that Western shows like don't really do is that they change as like the show goes on. You know, like I was trying to think of a show that does that, where like the whole song and the like opening video and everything changes between seasons or like between story areas, and I couldn't think of one. The closest I can think is like Weeds changed the artist every season for the same song.
That's a good one.
And then also The Wire did the same thing. They changed the artist for the same song.
I think it
That's
does
right.
happen, but probably not as consistently, and not between every season.
Yeah.
The Wire also changed the
Yeah,
whole
that's true. They did. They changed like the intro video also.
because it's a whole different.
Yeah.
We call bullshit
focus
on
different
you,
people.
Ben.
No, but that's
Yeah.
a different thing. That's not the same thing because it was the same song still. It was
Yeah.
just a different artist.
You're saying they changed the whole thing.
Yeah.
I always wondered why they didn't do that because by like the 8th season of something, you're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like what's really cool is like I can watch like a Naruto opening after having seen the show from like and it'll instantly kind of remind me of that part of the story and like give me nostalgia, you know, because like you watch the beginning of every episode and they often like change the video to like include new characters that come in or like new enemies that they're fighting and that's like antagonist of that story arc. And you like, I don't know, it just like adds to my fondness of like fond memory of that show, if that makes sense. Because I can go back and watch this like 1.5 minute video, and it'll bring back a whole story arc for me and all the feelings that came along with it. And they're often really good songs too. And like the fucking the One Piece, the first One Piece opening when I went to Japan last year was being played everywhere. It's like a genuinely just a popular song there.
That's cool.
Yeah. Cuz I mean cuz One Piece is, I actually looked this up the other day cuz my friend mentioned it. One Piece is the best-selling manga in the world ever, and it's the best-selling by 140 million copies.
Holy cow.
It's sold
Wow.
440.
Just a gentle lead.
It's sold 440 million. Dragon Ball has sold like 300 million. And then Naruto's
Wow.
third with like 250 million.
Wow.
It's insane. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's really quick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know if they're like on Spotify or something that you could just like...
They're
and
sometimes
listen
hard
to
to
'em?
find because they're like Japanese titles a lot of the time. But I don't know. I usually watch them on YouTube if I'm feeling like it, because I also like to like watch them with the video, with like the whole openings. That's kind of like part of it. But I will say, if you watch Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, as was my homework for last week, the first opening in that show is one of my favorites like ever.
I don't remember it, but I'm sure I would if I watched it again.
Yeah, I think you would. It's really good. It's and like not just the song, like the video is really well done with it.
I have a complaint about our podcast.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh no!
Yeah. The problem is that we're tasked each week to come with a fresh obsession, something that we're obsessed about, but also every week we get 2 pieces of homework, which are often pretty consuming, and we're not allowed to use as our obsession. So I often get obsessed about something that one of you motherfuckers have suggested to me, and then that's all I want to do that week, but then I have to also do something else because I know I have to come with a fresh piece of meat for our podcast. So that's my only complaint.
I think that for like our 50th episode, maybe we should have like a special episode where we each like bring like 3 of our favorite obsessions that we gained from the other 2.
Oh, I love
people,
that.
You know, like as a special.
Yeah.
3 each, so we'll have to be quick about it. I mean, I guess no, we don't want to be too quick about
Yeah,
it.
because we've already talked about them, but we can like talk about our experience with them. You know.
Yeah, and
I love
we
that.
can. This podcast can be as goddamn long as we want to,
And
like,
it's so
who
easy to
is
look through
setting
with the
it-
topic index now.
Yeah, you just like do a topic index.
Yeah.
Waitrobread.com.
Waitrobread.com. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that you bring that up, Erin, because I feel like we've allowed each other to do that in the past, like with Janelle Monáe. We talked about. I don't.
Yeah.
I think we talked about her twice.
I mean,
she's
that's
in
a
the
special
index
case.
twice. Well, so is my obsession this week.
I wasn't
I
saying
like-
it wasn't.
I like your idea, Ben. I want to do it.
Thank you.
I want to do it.
I like it too.
I came up with it on the fly.
You're
Just came up with that just now.
You're like so smart.
Yeah. So good obsession, Ben.
Thanks, Hannah.
Good obsession, Ben. That
Thanks,
was great.
Erin.
You were feeling a little insecure about it, but I want to say to you that was great.
Thank
more
you
shows
so
should do
much.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Western shows should pick up on that trend. It's really cool.
Yeah, and listeners, if you at home are listening to this, or you could be outside of your home, wherever you are, and think of a show that already does this and are yelling right now aloud.
I would love to hear, because I can't think of any.
Fucking tweet at us, email us. That would be fun.
And it's
I feel
not
like I
just with anime. It's not just like the really long ones too, because like you kind of have to when your show's like 800 episodes. I feel like, because you couldn't watch the same opening for that long. But even Fullmetal Alchemist is only like 60 episodes, and there are like 5 different openings for it.
Yeah.
It's just
Taboom.
cool.
Taboom.
It's a good thing.
That's what Erin said.
I said so boom, but it's not much better than to boom.
Taboom.
To boom.
Yeah, I actually like Taboom better, so I'm gonna keep it.
Taboom. You know, I was wondering about Baron.
I thought my first thought was that you meant Baron Trump, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What about him?"
No, I'm just without segue going back to what we were previously talking about. I realized the reason I was thinking about what a baron is in charge of is because it was mentioned in my audiobook this week that she was going to become a baroness, and I was like, what the fuck does a baron is in charge of?
What the fuck does a baron is in charge of?
So that's why my brain was all a wonder.
Okay.
Fantastic.
What book are you listening to?
The Danish girl?
Oh,
Yeah.
sounds pretty
I
Barony.
really felt like there was a joke there, and I couldn't find it.
You know, it's an interesting enough book. It's that, you know, they made it into a movie. It's a weird book because it's not my obsession. It's about, I'm almost done it. It's like loosely based on real people, including Lily Elbe, who was one of the first people to undergo a gender reassignment surgery. But it's a fictitious book, and so it like makes up a whole ton of shit. It's like it uses their real names, but like makes up a bunch of stuff, including like backstories about them, and it's an interesting book and it's well written, but it's one of those things that I just because of that reason I find it a little weird. But they also mention a baron who probably didn't exist. How am I supposed to know?
How are you supposed to know what he even did?
What's real?
How did he get his barony?
Did he inherit it? I don't know.
You said for that reason, I don't know, blah blah blah. It reminded me of Shark Tank.
Yeah, the 100% exclusive reason that I say for that reason is because of Shark Tank.
For that reason, I'm out. Yeah.
That reason, I'm out.
I would love to just go back to the point that county comes from count and how fucking crazy that is.
I feel like we're not making any progress in this episode.
No, we have to keep going back. I feel like that didn't get the appreciation it deserved at the time.
I don't think I heard it, so I'm glad you went back. I'm glad this current of conversation keeps leading us back
speaking of going
to
back,
the Barony River.
I'm gonna hop back for 1 second. Also, another thing I just remembered is that not only is One Piece the best-selling manga of all time, it's the third best-selling comic period of all time, and it's only behind Superman and Spider-Man.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Which Superman's been out since like 1938. So
people are all aflutter about a bathing suit.
Yeah.
One Piece joke.
WaitYouBroad.com. Barony. Is that good? So scary.
Chanel Monáe is an artist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Entire first half of the episode rehash, everybody.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.
Can I do my obsession now?
Yeah, you do you.
Okay.
Is it related to anything we said in the first half?
No.
Then no.
Then no.
It is related strongly.
I'm sure we'll get back there. Don't worry, Ben.
All right.
It's related strongly to something Erin talked about last week.
In that it's the exact same
It's
thing.
the exact same thing. The day after.
The day okay.
The day between when we recorded last and when I edited the episode, I did my homework from Erin. This is exactly the same problem that Erin was talking about, sort of. I was like, okay, Be Steadwell sounds pretty cool. I'll check her out. Ian was busy Saturday morning. He had the computer with him, so I couldn't start editing. So I just started watching Be Steadwell videos on YouTube. And I was immediately and intensely blown away by her talent and art. And then when I went to edit the episode, I was like, fuck, we talked about her for like 10 goddamn minutes at most. We did not do justice to her. And it was because like, it's kind of hard to talk about an artist with two people who have never heard them. And be interesting, I think. So I want to bring Be Steadwell back to the table for a revisit because I'm fully obsessed with her this week.
Yes.
I've only had a chance to listen to a few songs, but they're really good.
Yeah.
And
what
I
have you
enjoyed them
listened
a
to,
lot.
Ben?
I've listened to Greens
Very good.
and the one with the Netflix lyric that's really funny that I don't remember the name of.
Netflix.
Netflix. I think basically the first half of Queer Love Songs I've listened to.
Awesome.
Queer Love Songs is great. Breakup, what's it called? The Breakup album?
Breakup Songs.
Breakup Songs.
Is, I think, even better.
Damn, she's releasing shit yearly, huh?
Huh?
She's releasing shit
Yeah,
yearly.
and she's got a ton of shit on Bandcamp and
Yeah.
a ton of shit on YouTube.
Yes.
Wow.
She is hustling, which I have so much respect for.
She's active as fuck, which is amazing. She's like, so, okay, let me see. What did I do that was Be Steadwell related this week? First of all, just to tell you the state that I'm in right now, I cannot actually listen to podcasts right now because what happens to me is I start listening to whatever podcast I usually love, and about like 5 minutes in, I start getting one of her many songs that I'm obsessed with stuck in my head, and so instead I have to go listen to whatever album that's on. Straight through, again. I've listened to Breakup Songs like probably 3 or 4 times today.
And every song is amazing.
Amazing in its
Every
own
song,
way.
I'll say, on all of her albums are incredible.
I could probably do a full-length obsession just on Breakup Songs. In fact, maybe that's what I'll do right now.
You're
Yeah,
going to say
'cause
next week.
That's what I'll do. Tune in next week. I'll take my questions off here.
But, like, first of all, I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that you had a theory about it that you wanted to share with me.
Well, I did. So let me tell you my theory, and then I'll tell you what you already know about that theory. My theory was that it was all about listening through it the first or second time, or maybe third. My theory was that it was all about the same breakup, either real or imagined, and that it was somewhat like chronological in telling the story of the breakup. Like first the girlfriend leaves, then, or the partner leaves, then, you know, Bee's in this state of depression, then she gets angry and she starts, excuse me, and then
shook that cider.
yeah, I'm on my second cider already. Then she gets angry and starts deleting her on Facebook and stuff, and that's deleted you. And then she gets upset about her sleeping with other people, and that she said your name, which has a cool story behind it. And then, and it goes on, and I won't do this for everyone because actually, Erin linked me to a blog post that Be Steadwell released with the release of the Breakup Songs album, which was almost exactly this time last year, where she wrote a detailed description of when and how she wrote and recorded like every song on this album, including the story of her real life breakup that it was based on. And so like my theory was right, but also like full blown, just like available on the internet knowledge. So not really.
That's so cool.
Not really a theory, but
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Oh,
so
really?
That was cool that you did. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, it wasn't written in chronological order based on what she said in here, but like, so the first song that really captured me, like really, really captured my attention for, like actually it's still until now, is the one that I tweeted out, on a thread with last week's episode, which was Precarious Place, which is on Breakup Songs, Ben. And it's really, really beautiful to listen to, like, just as it is on Spotify. But the video, which I'm, like, almost 100% sure is her recording the track that ended up on the album, because all of the, like, the tonality of when she repeats, like, gone, gone, gone is the same and stuff. So it's like, it's cool to see her actually, and she has a few videos where she did this. It's really cool to watch her watch her recording the thing that now you can go listen to and be like, oh, I know exactly what her face looked like when she did this and this and this, you know, like that's really cool. But like her face during this song, when she was recording this, it was so expressive. One thing that I wanted to say about Be Steadwell in general is that like I can't actually think of any other musical artist that that it has so enhanced my enjoyment of watching them or listening to their music to also be watching them perform it. Like with some people, it's almost a detriment. Like John Mayer is a really good example. I don't like his music anyway, but he makes horrendous faces when he's singing. And I don't know if this is something that she practiced or if it's just something about her, but like she makes really amazing, like, beautiful singing faces that are really fun to watch and is just generally very expressive. Like during Precarious Place, when she sings like "Just Look Around You," she looks around herself, but not in like a cheesy way, you know. So like,
yeah, she's like in it.
Yeah,
in this, like you can tell she's in that place where she's
right
consumed with the music. Also, she's just like her kind of like, I don't know how to phrase this, like ownership of her domain is really evident when she's performing live. Like she's like, you know, pointing on the beats and like just like moving through this music, which is she produces and is not, it's pretty complex. Like all of the layers of the backgrounds and the beats and the kind of structure of the song, especially Precarious Place, which has a really interesting, like, it's kind of a slower song, but it's got a beat to it.
Yeah.
And just the way she kind of hits perfectly is really impressive. Like
the rhythms are really amazing.
Yeah. She's just got so much talent, and I think I agree with you. It's like it's double impressive when you watch her perform it, and she looks so effortless doing it, but you know that there's hours and hours and hours and hours of work and dedication behind that.
Right. Well, especially in the videos where she'll start before she like the videos where she's using the loop pedal. But she builds the entire song right in front of you. It's like, it takes a little while for you to see where she's going, but...
I love loop pedals.
Okay, have you seen...
Thank you for your contribution.
You're welcome.
I love lamp. No, but do you know, have you guys ever watched a Reggie Watts special?
I was about to say, I love Reggie Watts and how he uses loop pedals also.
Okay, I do too, and ditto on the second thing also. However, Reggie Watts is a great improviser on the loop pedal, which is really fun to watch in itself. But B has I'm always stunned when I watch, like, she doesn't just build a bass line for her to sing on or to improvise over. She builds in harmonies for her verses, for her choruses. She builds in like little accents or like little like builds that she's going to use later in the song, all at the beginning. She knows exactly what they are and where they need to be from the start. And it's like you said, Erin, it's hours and hours and hours of practice. And both of them are fun to watch in their own ways, but that is especially impressive to me because it's like you have to backwards engineer the whole song. And she doesn't
like,
just do it.
Andrew Bird.
Probably.
Except he does mostly with violin.
Oh, okay. But like I haven't.
Okay, whatever. It's just not even Andrew, not even on B's level.
I haven't listened to very much of him, but I need to keep talking about B. So the. It's not even just with her songs is what I was going to say. Like she does that with all of her originals, obviously, but she does a bunch of covers on her YouTube as well. And she builds those, like many of those from scratch with her loop pedal also, which means not only can she like build her own songs and do them perfectly, she can backwards engineer other people's songs and do them perfectly and do really cool original things with them, which is really impressive and amazing.
I don't know if you saw it, you might have, and I need to send it to you if not, because I also need to watch it. But I saw that she has a TED Talk where she's doing like a song with a loop pedal on stage, which I haven't watched because I was at work and I was like, okay, I need to stop watching Be Steadwell videos and do my job that I get paid to do.
Yep. Same problem. Oh man. But the other thing I was going to say about Precarious Place is that when you read the liner notes, which are called Lemonading in her blog, that Erin sent me, I think part of the reason that her face was so expressive was because she was still very much in the midst of the depression of like they'd only been broken up for like a few months. This was the first song that she recorded for the album, so it was like the first time that she was stepping out of just like hibernation from this like horrible like long-term relationship breakup and really starting to process those feelings. And so it's like her face is always fun to watch, but I think maybe why it struck me so much is because in this particular video, like she was really intensely still feeling the things that she was singing about. So it really like showed, you know. But that's how this whole album feels. It feels so personal, and all of her music feels so personal that it's like it's almost like I'm getting to be the way I am with podcasters sometimes, where I know so much, where I feel like I know so much about them that I feel like we're friends, but I know that that's like not really true. Like there's lots more to their life than like I know that, okay, but like
but it's a testament to how much she puts of herself in her music,
right?
Like really that vulnerability that she allows us to access through her music is really incredible.
Yeah, and it's been just a really wonderful experience and adventure, like discovering all this all of this backlog of music like on the YouTube and on the Bandcamp and on Spotify, and really like I love when this happens to me with albums like in general, and it doesn't happen to me as often as it used to, where I keep listening to an album and every day or every other day I have a new favorite song. And that's what's been happening to me especially with Breakup Songs. It's just a really great album.
And something just like I kind of mentioned last week, but I'll like just double down on is like I am always just hungry and desperate for songs that are even a little bit queer. Like and I don't know if you feel this way too, Hannah, but like I'll take like a fucking cover of like that's originally written by a man that a woman is singing and saying her instead of him, like using the pronouns that I like to use. Like I just am like just hungry. Like I have a playlist that's not very long of like every song I can find. Yeah. And every song she writes is not only amazing, but it's about a woman singing about a woman. Like it's just, and it's so good. It's so good. I just love it so much. I do feel that way. I feel like I maybe am not always as hungry for it as you are and as some people would be, because I feel romantic feelings towards a men and women, but mostly a man at this point in my life. But there's a quote on the front page of her website, which I find really interesting, and I think it really kind of like synthesizes a big part of what you're saying and what we're both loving so much about her. Which is, I'm an activist because I am a Black queer woman singing about love. I believe that is radical. Yeah, it is, unfortunately. It is, and it really, like, part of what this whole journey has been for me, as a cis white woman who is, like, only probably bisexual by name for the whole rest of my life, which is, like, my own, like, internal struggle is, like, you know, how do I live that truth about myself while also being, like, monogamous with a man that I love very much? It's, like, kind of a thing that I deal with. We've talked about it before, Erin. That doesn't make you less bisexual. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's really driven home to me how much that representation is lacking. Like, we've talked off pod about the video for Sometimes. That is her latest video that she put out, which, Ben, you probably haven't seen it, right?
No, I haven't.
I'm just going to describe it to you, but you should watch it. It's very good. But the song is about loving someone who is, like, genderqueer in some way, basically, where, like, the traditional labels don't apply perfectly to the nature of your relationship or the nature of who you are as people, and like, how do you deal with not fitting like the format of how our language is built, like that kind of stuff, and still loving each other, and how like that's enough.
I wish that we had just a gender neutral pronoun built into the language.
Yeah, I know. I think
French
we're getting
does.
closer. Yeah,
French does, but they don't really use it like that, as
Right.
far as I know. They use it more as like a collective.
yeah, they kind of end up gendering things more often because they have like genders for everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But the video is, first of all, the entire thing is translated into sign. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This cider is very good. I'm drinking it very fast. The video is translated into sign language by this wonderful, beautiful, smiling translator who is like really just clearly also very into like the song and the message. And then it's just like a bunch of clips of like really sweet families and couples and stuff who are, you know, just, you know, quote unquote non-traditional in a number of different ways, and just like them being cute and cuddly and loving each other and living their lives and smiling at cameras and stuff. And it's just like made me cry so much, because you just don't, it just really drives home how infrequently you actually see that on a screen like that, and see them as the main characters of any type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's like a big part of, I think, her message is like, we are not just, you know, queer or just black or just women. Like, we're people, and our story, all of our stories deserve to be told as much as anybody else's. And that's what she's trying to do in her way. And I think it's really awesome. I want to support it.
And the thing that strikes me about that song is the way she tackles that topic with such grace.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a really graceful song, and the lyrics are so, they're perfect. It's just, you know, it's like sometimes you don't feel like a girl, sometimes you don't feel like a woman. I don't have to call you girlfriend, you don't have to be my wife. You could be my comrade, be my
Teammate for life.
Teammate. And the word that came to mind then was teenage, and I was like, oh, that's not right. What's the word I want? It's very similar.
Maybe we don't have a format.
We've come very prepared to talk about the lyrics of this song.
Obsessed, huh?
Maybe we don't have a format of what we'll become or something like that.
Yeah.
But we could just be you and me.
You and me.
We could just
We could just be in love. Yeah, I love that.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all.
You wax poetic about this way better than I did. That's not like a critique on me, but I just like appreciate the way that you talk about this so thoughtfully. That was great. That was fun. I'm glad you did a redo.
Thank you. Well, I'm not trying to show you up or anything.
No. I'm glad we did another one.
You did, but you weren't trying. So.
Yeah, I mean, you did. It's fun. It's fine. It's not about intent, right? It's about
It's about outcomes.
And you know,
that's right.
On that same kind of note, like, as a straight white dude, I feel like, and normally sentences that start with that do not go in a good direction, but
you're a well-established radical feminist, Ben.
Well, like, yeah, that's true. Like, now that I kind of feel like I'm more aware of representation in general, I'm like tired of seeing straight white dude and TV so obviously targeted for straight white dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
I know
all the because it makes
it's all
like,
there
especially
is.
because there's so many different things producing content now. Like, it's not just TV networks, it's like Hulu and Netflix throwing out a bunch of originals. And it's like
Originals.
so Ridgies. Bunch of Ridgies. And it's so, I don't know, like, it's just, there's so much out there, and so much of it feels the same because it's targeted towards the same group of people, and that people is me.
I just, like, I won't even do it anymore. It's
well,
like...
I've noticed that about you. I was going to say to you, I know I just interrupted you talking about it, but I really appreciate...
I've noticed the thing you were about to say. Let me talk to you.
I want to
Let me
tell
tell you about
Let me
it.
say No, I just want to tell you I appreciate it, because you bring a lot of people who are like in some type of minority to the table for us to talk about, Erin. You've been doing it since the beginning, and I don't know how intentional it was or wasn't, but I appreciate it because it's increased my awareness.
Thank you. It's not intentional in the fact that like I don't, but that I choose it on purpose for the podcast. It's more like I choose it on purpose in my life. It's like I realized like I'm in the same boat as you, Ben. It's like there was like a sudden moment where I realized like all of the media I consume is like made by and made for straight white cis men.
Yeah.
And I just was like and I've had these like larger thoughts that I need to work through a little more of like my unconscious biases and how I notice personally they get a little better the more I infuse myself with art and media that is made by and for even, people who are different from me. So I don't know if that's like an eventual like aid to helping, us recognize and work through our unconscious biases, but it's definitely like maybe shifting our attention to something other than like this onslaught of one person's point of view.
Right.
Definitely
and I
helps.
think that's why Queer Eye has been so good beyond like just the show being good. It's just been like an avenue for straight people to like appreciate representation more, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like especially with the episode with Skylar and that conversation that he had with Tan.
Yeah.
Where like, because Tan, even though he's gay, was like kind of coming from that outsider perspective of someone who wasn't really involved in the LGBT community that much. And it was like a way for me as like a straight dude who obviously is not involved in the LGBT community because I'm not like a member of it. Oh, that's not just because you're not a member doesn't mean you can't be involved in it. But like I'm not, I'm kind of in the same position as Tan where like I'm adjacent, I'm aware of it. I'm obviously adjacent to it, but I'm not like actively involved in it. And it was like kind of a way for me to like an avenue for me to get a little more understanding also.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a good show.
I think the thing that comes to light for me constantly in disturbing ways are like how I'm still running into my own like internalized misogyny and my internalized transphobia and my internalized homophobia, which is really interesting being homosexual. But it's good. It's like, I'll experience moments of when you start to consume this media that is or that art, that's when I think you get the chance to be confronted with things and feel uncomfortable about them and think about like, why do you feel uncomfortable about them in a place that is safe and on your own terms? It's like more of a incentive to be consuming that sort of media,
Yeah. Well, it's also like I was thinking while you were talking about how so many of the things that you were consuming and that we still consume were made for straight white cis men, and how like I feel like it can be weirdly for people who are in some type of like marginalized group, whatever degree that is, it can be almost a point of pride to be like, oh, but I still really like this thing, like to be able to enjoy the things that are in the mainstream. And I'm talking now about my own, like even podcast consumption, like how there are some shows that I listen to where like the guys are like, it's dudes. They only ever hear from dudes. They only ever like, they like, make jokes that are like a little off color, or about women who like are so proud of the fact that they can like hang with like the dudes and fit in and stuff. And like, I think, I think it's fine and acceptable and like, perfectly normal to want to be able to like interact respectfully and enjoy as many types of people as you can. Like that in itself, it's in being able to enjoy those things isn't a bad thing. I don't think always, depending on how awful how like misogynistic the content itself is, obviously, but like also when you start consuming other types of things, and when you catch yourself thinking things like, it's too bad that this whatever content will never be as popular as this other thing because like, you know, it's made for, you know, for this particular group. It's like, well, if I can learn to enjoy stuff that's not made specifically for me, then why can't they? And why am I always asked to be the one who is enjoying their things? And they can just be like, oh, whatever, that's boring, that's not for me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, so it gets you thinking.
Yeah. And I've also had the thought about, like, when I'm like, I'm just not going to do that anymore, of like consuming art that is made by and made for straight white cis men. Not saying that they're inherently bad or anything like that at all.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll have a moment where I'm like, well, that's not necessarily like fair, or like, you know, maybe it's a little radical to say that, but also like I spent my whole life like pretty much exclusively consuming that sort of
because it was the only option.
Because that was the only art. So it's okay for me to like flush the system for a little bit and shed light and spend my money on things that aren't that.
Right.
Yep.
Totally.
So, and they're gonna, guess what? They're gonna do just fine.
Yeah.
Without me.
Right.
Oh, and can I on this topic, can I just give a big shout out to something that, looking through the topic index, I'm amazed I have not talked about before, but probably won't for a long time. It's because it's a graphic novel series called Saga. I thought I talked about it, but it's not in the topic index. Maybe I haven't.
Oh, you mean the Sega?
No,
Sega games?
I don't think you have.
It's
you haven't talked about it.
Fucking good, and sci-fi is a really good example of a genre that's, I think, in the past been monopolized by like content for straight white dudes. And Saga is an amazing example of a sci-fi. I think it's technically a comic book, but like whatever, graphic novel, same diff.
Same diff.
That's like extremely inclusive and has like characters of, not because like the whole premise of the story is it sounds so reductive to say like a Romeo and Juliet story, because like that's just any thing where people fall in love from disagreeing factions. But like in that sense it is, and there's this whole like handling racism thing with that on top, and then like there's just a whole huge variety of characters in terms of like sexuality. There's a trans woman in it. Like there's just it's just so good. It deals with so many things, and like kind of I feel like brings sci-fi to like more people, you know.
Awesome.
Just like targets it to anyone who enjoys sci-fi, because like there are people who enjoy sci-fi who aren't straight white males, and I feel like a lot of sci-fi creators don't recognize that when they're creating.
Yeah,
and
representation
really
is so important.
Yeah,
it's so important.
Cool. Shout outs to Saga. Shout outs to Be Steadwell. And listen, I want to personally apologize to Be Steadwell if she ever hears this for whatever happened in Boston to you recently, because it sounded like it sucked. And I hope you come back to Boston sometime.
I also want to say, Be Steadwell.
Be Steadwell.
If you ever happen to be listening, I know that you've come to Durham, North Carolina a couple times. I totally missed it because I didn't know about you then. But you should come back and go to the Pinhook. That is our queer space, queer bar. And I will spread the fucking word if you do. Like, personally drag some people there. So I even know some people who do drag, so I'll drag them in drag.
Say that.
And that'll be... I've seen so many drag shows there. So, anywho, the Pinhook.
She does.
Would love to have
I think
you.
she does
It'd be
living room
so
shows
amazing.
sometimes too.
Just what?
Living room shows.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, there was actually.
If I do a
Erin
living room
has a big
show,
house.
Yeah, will
Yeah.
you come if you guys come down for a living room show?
If she did a living room show, I would come down. You give me 13 hours notice, I'll be there.
Wow. Massachusetts to North Carolina. That gives you an hour to pack.
Yeah, exactly.
if that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Well, that's a promise. So, cool.
Cool. So it's your turn, Erin.
Yeah, well, speaking of how I'm always bringing kind of people not quite in the mainstream. I think they're in the mainstream, though. Anyway, my obsession this week is a poet.
Oh, fun.
Yep, and their name is Andrea Gibson, and Andrea goes by they, them pronouns. And okay, so I first heard about them because of fucking Discover Weekly. It was actually a little startling because their song Radio came on my Discover Weekly. So it's not a song. Here's the thing. Andrea Gibson is a poet and has been for many years. Their albums on Spotify go back many, many years. It's interesting because their poetry albums are on Spotify. So they do like anthologies of poems as well as recording their poems over music or some live recordings and put them on Spotify. So I think that's really cool. So there's some albums.
What's their name?
So I got in Andrea Gibson.
Gibson, okay. I'm going to check my Discover Weekly right now.
Yeah. Hannah and I at one point in our life had the exact same taste in music, so got a lot of the same recommendations.
Yeah, and I heard Greens. I didn't mention this. I had heard Greens already. When Erin mentioned it, it sounded familiar to me, but I had heard it from my Discover Weekly and liked it and saved it already.
Boom. Fucking boom.
Boom.
Boom roasted.
So the song, well, it's a poem, but it begins with a song. So it was on my Discover Weekly, and it begins with this really beautiful acoustic cover of Bon Iver's Flume, sung by a woman, and then Andrea Gibson comes on top of it with their poem. And it startled me because it's like you're listening to a song and then someone's talking in your ear.
Sounds familiar.
And it's a really great poem. So their poetry style is just lovely, and their topics include they write a lot of poems about politics and about gender norms and about love and sexuality, and it just runs the gambit. But really political, and kind of like you mentioned, like Be Steadwell kind of had on her site, just writing a love song about another woman is political, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say another one, but about, a woman, if you're not a man, is political. So I've been listening to their albums on Spotify. The one I would recommend, honestly, to start with is their most recent one, Hey Galaxy. I listened to it today on the way to and on the way from work on my big commute, and all of the poems are really wonderful. There's one, which is the third track on Hey Galaxy. It's about the Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting, and it made me cry on the way to work, and it made me cry on the way home. Like, it is extremely, extremely, extremely powerful. Just really, I find that sort of thing, like when that happened, I was totally like numb to it. Like I wasn't, it's so ingrained in our system. We're like so just not immune, but like numbed out to that, our culture, our gun violence culture and the shootings that happen all the time. But that really brought so much emotion, to me around that. And the poems, they range from like love poems. There are some really good ones in there. Radio is a love poem. And again, just like really good content that I super enjoy because it uses pronouns that, in the context of love that I really resonate with. And then I was at, Molly and I are going to the beach this weekend. Wanted to do a quick shout out to my wife, Molly, who graduates from code school this week on Friday. I'm so proud. She worked super hard, and we're doing a beach getaway, which brought me to being at the bookstore, getting some books. I had to do so much research to find some gay books that I wanted to read, and I picked up.
Doesn't that suck?
Yeah, it took me so long. It's such a struggle. It's even harder when I'm trying to get one from the library. But excuse me. which is why I try to sometimes do lesbian book reviews at my Instagram account, Lesbian Movie Reviews. But I picked up Andrea Gibson's I picked up what I thought was a book of poems by Andrea Gibson, but it turns out it's called Take Me With You. Also, Andrea Gibson was recently on Cameron Esposito's podcast Query.
Oh, cool.
Not recently, but like several months ago, so you can check that out. I listened to it. It was good. It was recent. Yeah, that podcast is recent, you could say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that this was going to be a book of poems, and I was a little disappointed to find that it is a book of excerpts from their poems across the years with some illustrations. It's very nice. It's a great book, but it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be, which didn't make it any less absorbing. But, I was thinking about, like, how, because my main obsession has been listening to Andrea Gibson read their poems in an audio format, which they obviously do much better than I could, like, read you excerpts from. But since I happened to accidentally pick up a book that is entirely excerpts from poems, I felt empowered to read a few.
Okay.
Because
How
that's the
long
entire
are
point.
their poems usually?
I think each track is about song length, so it'll have like a little bit of like intro music, and then it will have some, and then it'll be them telling their poem, and then maybe a little bit of outro music, but some on Hey Galaxy at least. And I was listening to some of their other albums, which are really great. Like their poetry style. I think if you listen to a few and you just, in general, just don't like their poetry style, you're not gonna like it. It's, it's like, like they have a very definite poetry style that is pretty consistent, it seems. But I love it. I personally really am into it. It's, very artful. I think each one is about, like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Each poem.
Gotcha. It just seems like I feel like poems usually aren't long enough to have excerpts from.
They're kind of like, they're prosy.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, not like short verses, but their style is very, very prosy.
Gotcha.
I'll read a couple excerpts if that's okay.
Yeah.
From my book here of excerpts. So you see, that's why I feel totally at ease to read you excerpts, because I have accidentally bought a book of excerpts. And it doesn't say which poems they're from. It's kind of fun to, I read a bunch of this last night and then listened to a bunch of the poems today. It takes guts to tremble. It takes so much tremble to love. Every first date is an earthquake.
Wow.
New excerpt. This morning... I wanted a distinct break there. This morning I saw her lipstick on a coffee cup and felt like I had never known a bruise.
Wow.
Huh.
New excerpt. This is longer. That's how I was living. Decades of no, 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 no. And that's okay. An accordion cannot make a song if it never closes. But then I met you and I started feeling myself open. Started feeling my yes come back, and it was the sweetest thing I'd ever known. It was the reverse of being haunted. Like taking a deep breath and pulling the fog off the glass. My love, my yes. Do you know how many times a day my gratitude frames your autograph?
Wow.
So it's
It's
red. So
pretty.
it's very pretty. I just love it. And they have a really, really, really powerful way of communicating via poem about any topic that they choose to write about.
Yeah.
So, I would really recommend it. I was thinking of you specifically, Hannah, listening to Hey Galaxy on your commute. I think that'd be something that you would find interesting.
Okay.
And I don't know your commute life, Ben, so,
It's a short train ride.
you too.
I'll check
But
it
yeah,
out.
that's my
Can I
obsession.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
How do you find out what pronouns that they use?
Oh, good question. So I think I had heard it on Cameron Esposito's podcast, but at the beginning of this book, Take Me With You, it's called, this book of excerpts, It says Andrea Gibson is one of the most quotable and influential poets of our time and has made a career at the forefront of the spoken word movement. Gibson, parentheses, they/them, regularly tours. Yeah. So it told me, which was nice.
That's one of those things that I'm not sure how I would find out about a famous person, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would need to be explicitly stated.
I do think it's really nice that people are becoming more aware of like putting that into their like Twitter bios and stuff like that. I think I put mine in now, or like at my brother and me shows, they say like when they take questions from the audience nowadays, they didn't when we went to one, but now they'll say like, hey, let us know what, tell us your question. And if you want to let us know your pronouns too, that would be great. Like right then.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. They're nice boys. I don't mind supporting them because they're extremely definitely allies.
I had an experience. It was lovely, but I was at it was a audition actually for a musical and recently-ish. And I was talking to a young man and he was in the middle of saying something to me, and then he was like, by the way, what are your pronouns? And I was so flustered by the question that I had to stop and think about it. I was like, she, her. Like, I was like, so, but I thought it was, and then I turned bright red. I don't know. As like a non-gender conforming looking person, I felt really, for some reason, really flustered by the question. But it was sweet. It was so sweet. It was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I think in those types of situations, I think it would be really... I mean, I'm sure there are people who would be offended, but like I think generally it's like always probably the best approach to just ask.
Oh, yeah,
right.
I think so.
Yeah.
I would never... Because, like, you shouldn't assume... obviously, and like misgender someone,
right?
And like I don't I mean I'm not someone who like uses, who is sensitive to it, but I would imagine that the preferred thing would be like for just someone to ask me to make sure,
right? Yeah, it's really tricky. I think about this all the time. Like, I know of someone who gets really vicious when their partner is misgendered, but I'm like, how would you know? Like, you just, I don't know how to know. And I also sometimes feel like it, and this might be an error on my feelings about this, but like defaulting to they, them can feel impersonal to me. Like if I were talking to you about somebody and mentioned somebody who was standing right there as like, oh, they wanted to know. That feels a little cold, like it out of context.
Yeah.
So
I think it's something that we're just like as a society going to have to get more used to, because even to me, like hearing an individual referred to as they, as like a someone who's really pedantic about grammar, still like kind of bothers me, because like that's why I really wish we had just like a gender neutral pronoun that we could default to, because like. It bothers me that our only option is to use a plural one. It's
not always a plural.
Yeah.
It's not. It is perfectly within grammar correctness to use they, them as a singular.
No, I know.
Somebody brought me flowers. That was so nice of them.
Yeah. No,
that's perfectly natural.
But that's like the kind of impersonal.
You're right.
Form you're talking about.
It's like a
when you use
anonymous.
Like
anonymous.
as many times as you did, like in that talking about Andrea Gibson there were like
talk about Andrea Gibson there.
Talking about Andrea Gibson. Sometimes I hear it and like I immediately just like for a split second I'm like, wait, is she talking about more than one person? And then I have to like remind myself.
It's not natural.
It's just something I'm gonna have to get used to. Like that's for me to do. That's not like for them
that's not
to
their
change
problem.
about exactly. Yeah.
I think that actually we're like in the midst of a shift in the language, because I heard somewhere, I can't remember where, but it was actual research that someone was researching what
trust me
basically like people over like 30 or 20 or whatever, their reactions to hearing they used in the way we were just discussing versus people who are of the younger, even younger than us generation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's much, much, much more normal already with millennials who are like, you know, in their teens right now. I don't even know if they're millennials anymore. What are they?
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I'm even more used to it than I used to.
Yeah,
be.
you just adjust.
Like,
it's like anything else. You just adjust to it. And, you know, I think as far as whether, like how you would know, like we already talked about asking, but I feel like all that we can do, you know, as allies is our best to be aware of it and to adjust if we get it wrong.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once we find out.
It takes me a lot of conscious effort to remember to use they them where appropriate. And I think that comes from, I examine that in myself a lot of like my baked in and inherent and like just like how we kind of have been raised to bake gender into every person and like trying to tease that away is really hard.
Yeah.
Right. Like it takes so much mental effort for me to remember to use the correct pronouns, which is so interesting. Like I can't think of this person as a they them person. I have to remember to apply that filter before I speak, right? But and maybe one day I can shift my view of like them as they would like to be seen rather than like shifting my, you know, the words I use.
Right.
And you know, I mentioned French earlier as having like a gender neutral third person singular pronoun. And I was actually thinking the other day because I was really curious how like gender non-conforming people in French handle pronouns because they is gendered in French.
Oh.
Yeah.
And also like gender is obviously so built into Romance languages because they're feminine and masculine words.
Yeah.
And the gender neutral pronoun I mentioned, which is on.
Like every noun gets a
like,
gender. You know this, Erin. You're fluent in French now.
Like it's used, like I mentioned before, it's like used as a collective. So I feel like it would. I think that I kind of want to look into this because it's something like pops in my head periodically. I feel like they would use on because it's like already in the language, but it'd be one of those things where like they'd have to get used to kind of how we're used to they being plural 90% of the time, almost normally like collective, almost a we.
Like we,
right.
Yeah. So
not
it'd be
we, yes,
an adjustment
but
for
we
them
as in
also.
like English we.
Or like I always think of it like one, like the way you would use one in English.
Yeah.
But like,
but it's
not,
like
we use that kind of like properly.
That's
It's
how
like a
one does it.
collective, almost like a collective you or we a lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
One does not simply walk into Mordor, like that sort of thing.
Exactly.
One does not simply have a gender. Another thing I wanted to mention on my thoughts about like, I don't know what to do, if it's best to assume they them or if it's best to ask. There are people, I want to acknowledge that there are people who've done a lot of like thought work and work, like thinking about this and probably there is a good answer to that question. Like, what is the best approach? Like, because I also hate like being like, this person looks gender non-conforming. Like, let me assume, because I don't want to get they them necessarily. I don't mind it, but I also like, why don't you just like let me live?
Really? I mean, no one wants to be called the wrong pronoun, no matter what that is.
Right. Right. Exactly. So where does that leave us?
Right.
So
Right. That's where assumptions
Just
used to come in handy. So we have to figure out what the solution is for that.
Right. Just keep using their name.
Yeah. You know.
Come up with a fun nickname for him and use that. This is
Skip.
not real
Call him
advice.
Skippy.
Please don't take it.
Let's just default to Skippy for everyone.
Hey, buddy.
I'm just gonna nickname anybody I'm not sure about they.
I was talking to my friend here,
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
and they want to know. That is actually quite natural.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend here, and they want to know
Yeah.
what you think.
Yeah. That is.
There are
I
definitely
was
ways to
talking
avoid
to-
using pronouns altogether.
Yeah.
I've been trying really hard to avoid like using guys as a collective because that's something I've heard
I'm
of
bad
before.
at
There's a
I've been saying y'all a lot lately
Y'all?
as
Very
a
good.
replacement.
There's something
y'all.
I heard an interview somewhere where a trans
Hannah
person.
can cite none of her sources tonight.
Well, I'm going to try to find this one because it was specifically someone talking to a trans person about specifically these types of pronoun issues. And it wasn't someone, I don't know if it was someone who uses they, them, or not. I don't remember. But they talked a lot about how to handle, how as an ally you can, like, you know, help and not, like, be part of the frustration. So
yeah.
I'm going to see if I can track that down somehow. I signed myself up for a lot of Googling.
Wow, that face.
Whoa. In related news, I've gotten sirred quite a bit more. I work kind of like more in the country now, and I've gotten sirred. It's on the rise.
Wow,
more than ever before. In my little queer bubble in Durham, never had. Well, it happened to me at the gym recently, but maybe I'm just starting to look more like a man in my face. Maybe my face is becoming weathered.
I don't think so.
Thanks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But we live in very different pockets of our culture, so I can't. When I try to imagine you walking around any part of Massachusetts, like, it's hard for me to imagine that happening to you because you're not. Like,
yeah, I know.
But you know.
Oh, it could totally happen in Boston.
Yeah.
Boston's. I mean, obviously, it's got liberal pockets. A lot of it because it's like a city on the East Coast, but it also has a long history of racism and homophobia. Like, the fucking city just renamed Yawkey Way, which is like the street next to Fenway, because Tom Yawkey was the owner of the Red Sox for a long time and was notoriously racist, and is the reason that the Red Sox were the last team to integrate in the MLB. Yeah, there's just there's a long history of Boston being really shitty in that regard. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's still.
Maybe it's just hard for me to look at Erin and see someone who could be mistakable as a sir, just because I've known her my entire life.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I've got boobs.
You've got big boobs, and you're very short,
big boobs.
and you've got a nice baby face situation.
Yeah, no, I've got. I mean, it's really, it comes down to, it's like in a place where I have not seen another queer looking person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really. Like in Durham, it's like, oh, there's a lesbian. Like, I've gotten lesbianed a few times. Like, and
can I help you, lesbian? Like that.
Yeah. Hey, what would you like to order, lesbian? Or like, I'll scan my gym card and they'll be like, enjoy your workout, lesbian. But in this more kind of country place that I work, country city, it's kind of, it's just like right outside the bubble.
Yeah.
I think it's just like it's a short hair and a collared shirt. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, like they realize it immediately.
Yeah.
Like there's regret face.
Madam.
It doesn't bother me. I'm like, it's an honest mistake, but it's just funny to see it. Cause it's like happening a little bit more outside my bubble.
Well, hopefully it'll be a learning experience for everybody involved.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah,
I just can only ever be myself. So
love it.
Fuck the haters.
I love yourself.
Fuck yourself.
That's another really good song.
That's another great song by Be Steadwell. It's not called that, but that's the theme.
That's the total theme.
Like, fuck yourself in that good way.
Yeah, it's very good, and it comes at like. I have to stop. I just have to stop talking about it. But like, but the album has this arc where the Breakup Songs album, where she's starting out very heartbroken, and then she's angry, and then she has a rebound, and then
she just rubs one out. It's great.
Then she learns to love herself in a very real sense.
You know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So that's what I was like. Yeah, it's a great song if you like that kind of thing, and why wouldn't you? You know. Just anybody. Anyway.
Positive thing. Sex positive. with yourself.
So
Okay.
that's it.
That's us. Have done another podcast.
The song is called How I Taste. We didn't say that. The song's called How I Taste if you want to look it up.
Check it out.
How I Taste.
Ben.
Yep.
Yeah, what?
What would your homework be, do you think? From what you...
I don't. It's like the same as last week because, like I mentioned, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is like the best, one of my favorite openings ever. From the first opening's one of my favorites ever.
Okay.
I want to watch it.
It's good.
Yeah.
I watch it.
Don't watch any of the other ones because they have spoilers in them.
Okay, so just the first intro.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah,
gonna watch
because, like,
the show.
Watch
That's
the
the show where,
yeah.
Secrets start to unravel and they show some of them in some of the openings.
Just watch the show.
Just watch the show.
Hannah's shining a flashlight up her face.
Like a haunted house. I just...
Wow.
Like
What's
a
your Twitter?
haunted house. Oh, my Twitter's. Wait, no. Like a haunted house? That's like a spooky camp story thing.
Yeah, in a haunted house.
She's doing it again.
My Twitter's Annie Disco Greg. I post pictures and gifs of Como because my phone does this awesome thing where it like captures motion before and after I take a picture sometimes and turns it like into a GIF automatically. And
That's so cool.
It's fantastic. And it like catches
What a
Como
GIF.
doing cute things all the time. So I've been posting GIFs of him lately that my phone made.
They were...
That's great.
Gifts
You
to
should
all
change your Twitter handle to Como Captures. KOMOKAPTURES.
Easy.
Como Captures with a K.
Easy.
Yeah.
Cool. So Ben's at Como
That's
Captures with a K. My homework is watch I will repost it and link it in the description on the website waittooproud.com of this episode.
Give Be Steadwell a tag-a-rooney, won't you?
I will. Watch the Precarious Place video, watch the Sometimes video, then listen to the entire Breakup Songs album, and then listen to everything else she's ever done, and it's all great. So just do that. And it will be time well spent.
Mm-hmm.
Give her money.
Yeah.
Give her money for things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm fixing to buy her entire collection on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Does listening to people on Spotify give them any money?
I think a little bit.
It gives them a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. You know what it does help
Just
them
a little
do?
bit.
And don't
Just
quote me on this, but I think it also helps them kind of identify where their listeners are and helps them tour
Oh, interesting. Okay.
intelligently. But back that up with some research of your own. But I think that's true.
You know, and you could have said there, I'm going to look into that, but I like how you passed the torch on it.
Look, this is your question, not my question. I'm not going to take the burden of your question upon myself.
Fair enough. I
feel
actually
free to
forgot that
Google
started
that.
because of I asked a question.
Take ownership of your own question, Ben.
Erin, my Twitter is at Anthropology, like the study of people with an H at the beginning of it. And my other podcast is called So Dreamy, and it's about dreams. It's fun and good. This week we did an episode where we took people's dream tweets and we just like random unrelated dream tweets and we strung them together into weird stories. And
Oh, fun.
That's fun.
and we like didn't tell anybody we were doing it, but we were using like them. We tagged them all when we released the episode, and people were really excited about it. So it's a good one.
Cool. So not this week, but last week.
Oh yeah, last week. So the episode that came out on July 8th. Go check that one out.
Rad.
Yeah. And Erin, what's your homework?
Okay, check out Andrea Gibson. Their album of poetry on Spotify, Hey Galaxy, is really great. I would just recommend just listening to the whole thing. So I'm not even going to give you one to just listen to the whole thing.
In order.
This book, Take Me With You. I wouldn't recommend just starting out with this, because it's just it was useful for me to read you some excerpts, but I would say check out their poetry on Spotify and then maybe buy some books, the anthologies and stuff like that. Is that what it's always called, an anthology? Just a book of poems. They have a collection of poems. So I'm gonna go back and buy the collections. So
cool.
Well, cool.
Sounds great and good.
Great and good. My Twitter is at Erin Byrne. I review lesbian movies. I watched one, I just need to review it.
Don't you know?
That's on Instagram, of all places, at Lesbian Movie Reviews. And, well, boy, I think that's just about me. Oh, check out our website. waytoobroad.com.
Yeah, if you want more information about us or any of the episodes or all the topics that we've covered, go to waytoobroad.com. It's only going to get better, but it's great already.
If you're interested in seeing what kind of websites I make, go to waytoobroad.com. That's one. Waytoobroad.com.
If you want to reach out to us more directly, you can email us or tweet at us or Instagram at us. Our email is waytoobroad@gmail.com, and you can find us on Twitter at toobroadpod, TOO broadpod, and on Instagram at waytoobroad. You can go to our website.
Leave us a review.
We will love you forever so much if you leave us a review.
Yeah, we might just do something special for you, like read you a poem.
Well,
that we write on the spot.
If you write us a review, and along with the 5 stars and the glowing review, you also request something from us, something you want us to do on Snack, we'll do it.
Yeah,
we're great like that.
Yeah, you know what? The next person who leaves us a 5-star review gets to dictate the private message that I send to Barack Hussein Obama on Twitter.
God, we still haven't gotten that yet.
We still have just this golden nugget of an opportunity to say anything we want and probably have Barack Obama read it.
Yeah.
Via direct message.
We have this opportunity. It's available and open to you.
Lawrence, do not throw away your shot. And if Be Steadwell leaves us a review, we'll literally die. So check that out.
Yes. So just, be careful.
So look out for that.
Look out for
use
that.
that power wisely, please.
We will not then be making any further episodes.
We won't be living
but
anymore.
We sure would appreciate it.
But we die happy.
Yeah.
And we'll do also whatever you want. We'll host living room shows all over this country.
Yeah, we'll like break and enter into a home and host a living room show there.
Yeah. Is that what you want?
That's like the guerrilla like kind of spirit hustle you're looking for?
Yeah.
All right.
So, thanks for listening, everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
We want to talk any more about barons or duchies or counts or anything? Any last words on that matter?
How big is a barony?
Any last words on barons?
That was it.
Okay.
Barony.
The podcast candle is now extinguished. Wait, it's not actually yet.
No.
It's going out.
Barony.
Oh my god!
Barony.
Please.
Barony.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Barony.